first visited Detroit in 1986 as a 19-year-old. It was my first great American road trip adventure. I'd taken a Trailways bus from New York to Detroit and spent that summer working with inner city underprivileged kids on a camp north of the city on Lake Michigan. To me, that was pretty much a culture shock, but as a teenager, it was a great experience. I remember going into Detroit, exploring the city, and back then in the 80s, it had a thriving punk rock and roll music scene. I remember going to places such as St. Andrews, the City Club, the Bagley Hotel. I remember going downtown to places like Greektown and Trappers Alley. I even went over to Windsor and seem to recall that Detroit looked great from Windsor. Detroit sort of reminded me a little bit of Sheffield in the sense that it's a northern industrial town that has sort of fallen on hard times, but is definitely making a comeback. So for me, it was just like stepping back in time to actually be in Detroit again for the first time in almost 30 years. Except this time I was experiencing the city, driving my own car, my favorite car number 277. Any motorhead, gearhead car enthusiast can sort of tell you that Detroit, the Motor City, is an iconic town. It's famous for the automobile, and the DNA is just ingrained. All the cool old buildings and train stations and car factories. There's just a real sense of history there, which was great for me to be around and soak it up and absorb it. I suppose the icing on the cake for me really was being able to screen Urban Outlaw at the historic Fillmore Theater as part of the Automotive Film Festival. That really was the icing on the cake. But in essence, returning to the Motor City 30 years ago was just a wonderful experience to see how the city's coming back, and the environment was great to drive around. So that's pretty much my take on the Motor City, and thanks Detroit for all the love and support.